Can we admit right now that OUPES is really crushing it with what they're bringing to the market, especially now that they have this Exodus 600. It is ridiculously portable and has a surprising amount of power, and it pretty much goes everywhere that I can go with ease. No matter if I need to take it with me to a job site, power up batteries or lights or chargers or anything like that, or if I'm using it at home when I don't want to plug in the cord to a wall, like what I'm doing right here. I can plug this straight into my laptop and it gives me hours of runtime just on my laptop so I can keep working remotely. Very easily, super cool. Since it runs nearly silent, I can leave it next to my bed if I need to run something like a CPAP. Here, I need to charge up a bunch of batteries, and these batteries, I did not know charged this quick off of this Milwaukee charger. You can see here, I've got a 5 amp hour battery plugged in, and looking on the Exodus 600, I'm getting about 140 watts input, so it's going to charge it really fast. Can I charge 2 batteries at the same time? Well, absolutely. You see that going on right here with the red light. And now we're getting about 290 watts to go into those batteries from this Exodus 600. It fluctuates just a little bit, but I can charge up to 6 batteries at once using this setup. The beauty of having portable power like this is it gives me so many options. When I'm using a bigger power station, I don't have the option to just charge little things easily because I have to move a 40, 50, or even 100-pound power station. With this, I can take this really high-speed DC adapter and charge up my drone batteries extremely fast, which is going to allow me to do footage for work or for videos like this, or even if I'm doing a site survey for a solar install, it allows me to get my equipment charged up quickly and operating without any issues because it's so portable. Hardly takes up any space in the passenger seat of my truck, and I could actually be car charging this at the same time if I wanted to. And even if I just want to swap from using items on an outlet, including this high output USB-C, I can keep my phone, drone, whatever batteries charged up quickly. Not a ton of outlets on it, but just enough to keep the essentials going for remote use. Now, I do want to run some heavier equipment, so I'm going to plug a refrigerator, a freezer, security, Wi-Fi all into this at the same time. And unfortunately, this did have an error of overload, and that's because of the surge that happens right when a refrigerator or freezer turns on. It uses a lot more energy than it typically does than if it's just already running. And I do want to try running my fuel pump. This is my diesel fuel pump to refill my truck. This pulls a lot of power, but this supposedly surges to 1200 watts. And we can see we're only getting about 350 watts and it's really struggling and it ends up not working. What if I try plugging in my freezer, only the freezer, not the fridge and the other things at the same time? So I'm going to disconnect it from the extension cord and add it right to the Exodus 600, and it's already working. It's working perfectly without any issues, the light, the cooling, all of it, no problem. Now my phone will fast charge at about 15 watts. I want to see if this will actually do 15 watts because it's rated to 100 watts and sometimes they trick you with this. So it's not showing the super speed charger icon there, but we are pulling 15 watts, which means it is fast charging and I like that. It's really lightweight. It's so compact. It's easy to move around. I could honestly put this in a tool bag on any job site, and the weight is just under 9 pounds, coming in right at 8 pounds 9 ounces. Now, in my opinion, there's not much reason to use a small power station like this unless you can recharge it quickly, and I prefer to do that with solar since I try to use this equipment off-grid or for backup portable power. This is a 240 watt panel from OUPES. It works perfectly with the Exodus 600. These legs pop right out and this unfolds to make it really easy to set up. It's got 4 sections and 4 legs, and they pop out after you undo the hook and loop or the Velcro off of the back. And then there's about a 10 or 15 foot cable that's built into the panel that can plug directly into the unit. I'm just trying to line this up with the sun. It's the afternoon, it's pretty cloudy, so I'm not expecting to get a lot. And you can see I just use this DC7909 or 8mm barrel connector. And this starts charging right away, but we're barely getting any power just because it's later in the day and the clouds are so bad. It's very dark. Still, we're getting a little more than 10% of the total input, which is surprisingly still pretty good for this time of the day and with that thick clouds. This panel is really portable and the specs are just right for the Exodus 600 because the VOC is 19.8 volts. But you want to make sure that you don't grab the cells this way. That's going to crack them. To fold this up, simply fold each section back in on itself towards the flap, close the flap, put the leg up, put the cord back into the pouch, and it's convenient that it has this zip up section where you can store the cord or any accessories that you'd like to keep with the solar panel. I do really like this handle. It's really wide, much wider than the other ones I've used, and it's comfortable for carrying around. Let's get into the charging, because this does charge pretty quick for it being such a small unit. It uses a C13, C14 plug right here, and we immediately start getting a charge, but it slowly builds up all the way to the 300 watt input. It wants to get to that slowly rather than starting right away. But what I want to know is, will this work as a UPS? So I've got a 100 watt light bulb right here. I'm going to plug it in, and we can see we're using 100 watts, and we're still getting 280 watts input. But as time goes on, that slowly trickles down to 220 watts and sometimes gets close to 200 watts. And as I turn the light bulb off, we can see that this will gradually start to go back up to 300 watts input, so it's not working like a UPS. I'd get to test a lot of solar generators or portable power stations, and this River 2 Mini from EcoFlow is very similar in size as well as specs, so I want to look real close and see which one actually has the better specs. This has a 256 watt hour battery on the River 2 Mini, as well as a solar input of 110 watts, which is okay. And then we can see that the AC output, or the inverter output, is 300 watts. On the Exodus 600, we have the same size battery at 256 watt hours, 240 watts of solar input though. That's more than double than that of the River 2, and a 600 watt inverter. They use the same wall chargers but different solar chargers. One's an 8mm, one's an XT60, and the XT60 I generally prefer, but at least on the Exodus 600 this wall charger is covered, and it does have a fuse to make it easy to swap in case it gets overloaded. One major complaint that I do have is how easy this Exodus 600 gets scratched. This isn't dust, and I have not used this super hard, but I have taken it to a lot of places with me, and it has gotten really scratched up. They have DC output for 12 volt cigarette lighter, and then 2 AC outputs, a USB-C and 2 USB-A, and the power button in the bottom middle, and about the same size screen. Very, very similar, pretty much mirror images. I wanted to retest the solar, so I waited for a really clear sunny day. You can see there are no clouds right now, so I'm going to go ahead and set up this 240 watt solar panel once again, just to see what is the max solar input that I can get using all of the same OUPES equipment. So I fold out the panels, very easy to do in this manner, in one section at a time. And now that we're in full sun, we're getting 80% of the rated input at about 200 watts, which is very impressive for this panel. I want to compare the Exodus 600 to the other top two units of the similar size. This one is $159 on sale, down from $200 typically, and there are different options here, but the River 2 is normally $240, it's currently $20 off at $219, and the Bluetti EB3A, which has 600 watt inverter, 268 watt hour battery, 200 watts of solar input, and does get to work with the Bluetti app, is available on the Bluetti site for $299 minus a $90 coupon. OUPES has released some incredible solar generators to the market, and this one I do like despite it getting scratched easily. Their Mega 2 and Mega 5 units I really like, and I would recommend all of them because I use them personally. And if you want to see how I can potentially run my entire house off the Mega 5, click this video right here.